Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Jay Ellyiot here, and welcome back to another episode of Beats with Jay. All right, so for this episode, I'm going to be doing another beat breakdown with BeatMaker 3. This particular track was done for INTUA using their app BeatMaker 3. Some of you probably have already watched the video or heard the track, and it is the track that I did with Kev Turner titled The Massacre. I'm just going to run through all the effects and show you what I used and why I used them. Here's a quick snippet of the track.
Yeah, it's Kev Turner. This joint funky, man. Check me out. The horror of tomorrow, the wickedness is ridiculous. Earth is my chessboard, every move is meticulous. You could be sick and infected with mad sicknesses and still couldn't spit the sickening display of penmanship. God is my witness, I'm infected with wittiness, delivering the gospel like Moses did in Leviticus. A vessel, I'm emitting this, special like them Olympic kids. Bars with significance, you can hear what the difference is. The horror of...
All right, so the first thing I laid down was the sample. So I'll play the sample with the effects first. And now I will bypass all the effects, and this is what it sounds like. And it's literally just 4 chops. Alright, so the first thing I added was sidechain compression to the kick. With this sample and the kick, it makes a huge difference. I mean, if I didn't add sidechain compression, the beat would have sounded completely different, and I'll show you why. So I'm going to take off the sidechain compression and I'm going to solo everything else here. So this is what it sounds like without the sidechain compression and with everything else in the beat. And this is what it sounds like with the sidechain compression. So that was definitely a huge part of the beat to make it sound the way it is and to give it that vibe and to definitely give it that bounce. So after the sidechain compression, I added DAW Cassette. DAW Cassette is by Clevgran. So here's how it sounds like without the DAW Cassette. And here's how it sounds like with DAW Cassette. So I added DAW Cassette to give the sound more of a gritty sound. Basically, it's just tape emulation / saturation. So they have this one parameter over here called motor quality. It basically will give whatever sound you're applying to that kind of tape warble effect. And then you have other parameters here like tape quality if you want it to sound more degraded or less, tape head quality. And then you have other knobs here where you could turn on tape noise. Let's just go ahead and play around with the parameters so you can hear what it sounds like. So yeah, DAW Cassette is really good to add. I like adding it to samples if I have some chop samples, but you can pretty much apply it to anything. If you don't have this app, definitely go check it out if you are into cassette emulation, tape emulation. And then the other thing that I added to the sample was just a high pass filter within BeatMaker 3's effects, just to take out some of that bottom end. So this is what it sounds like without. And this is what it sounds like with it on. Definitely makes a huge difference for sure, because with it off, you can definitely still hear that kind of like rumble and the static from the vinyl. And then with the filter, it eliminates some of that background noise. So the next thing I laid down after the sample was the drums. And on the effects chain, I have FAC Transient and Lo-Fi Dirt. So here's what it sounds like without the effects. And here's what it sounds like with the effects. So basically I added FAC Transient to give my drums more punch. They have a bunch of presets here that you can select, and I selected TR Punchy, and then I just adjusted some of the parameters to get it how I want it to sound. Definitely a good app, especially for drums. So if you're looking to fattening up your drums, check out FAC Transient. So here's how it sounds like without FAC Transient. And now I'll activate it. And as you can hear, it gave the drums just a little bit more punchiness and more bump to it. So the next thing I added was Lo-Fi Dirt. Lo-Fi Dirt is a really dope app, especially for drums. If you're looking to add some extra grittiness or saturation or distortion. So here's how it sounds like without Lo-Fi Dirt. And here's what it sounds like with it. I just kept it on default mode and adjusted the dry wet knob a little bit, and also the in and out faders here. So let's go ahead and play with this parameter. And as you heard, it just gave the drums a little bit more punch and grittiness to it. But definitely using these two in combination, FAC Transient and Lo-Fi Dirt, you are guaranteed to have some smacking drums. So yeah, I highly recommend using FAC Transient and Lo-Fi Dirt for your drums. So go check it out. All right, so after the drums, I added the bass line. So here's what it sounds like. And basically the only thing that I added to it was sidechain compression. So here's how it sounds like without sidechain compression. And I'm going to solo it with the drums because you'll be able to hear the difference more when it's playing along with the drums. So let's bypass the sidechain compression and also solo the drums. So now let's hear it with the sidechain compression on. Without the sidechain compression, there was no bounce. And with the sidechain compression on, you can hear those kicks cutting through the mix. It's not clashing with the bass when they both hit at the same time. And it just gives the beat more bounce. But most importantly, it really helps clean up your mix and help make your kicks cut through so it doesn't sound muddy or too muffled when it's both hitting at the same time. So the only other thing within the bass line is Poison 202. And I used a deep bass patch, and I just adjusted some of the parameters, some of the filter parameters, and also the EQ parameters and the effects. Poison 202, deep bass patch, sidechain compression within BeatMaker 3, and a funky bass line. And that's it. Those are the three main elements to the beat, and that is it. So here's how it sounds like all together. All right, so the next thing is Kev's vocals. So after the beat was made, I sent it over to Kev Turner. And normally if I'm collaborating with another artist, I don't send out beats that are like fully mixed and mastered, just to leave a little bit of headroom. Because if you send out a beat that's like fully mixed and mastered, you're not going to leave a lot of headroom for the artist to lay down their vocals. I usually like to mix the track once I have everything. Once I have all the pieces, like everything for the beat and everything for the vocals, then I'll go into mix mode and mix everything together so everything sounds like one whole cohesive track. So I basically sent him the beat with some like very minimal mixing and not like go too crazy. Kev sent me a few vocal tracks. He sent me the main verse for his vocal track, and then he sent me his ad-libs. And then he also sent me the main vocals for his for the hook, and then the hook ad-libs. Not so much ad-libs, just like a double up of his vocals for the hook. So to get a good mix, you need a good recording. That's huge, because if you have a vocal track or something that wasn't recorded properly, if it doesn't sound good, it's going to be hard to try and clean that up in the mix. Kev's a pro, man. Like he knows how to record his vocals. He does it all on his own. He made my job a lot easier because the vocal recording that he sent me was, it already sounded good. So the only thing that I added to his vocal track was some EQ, some compression, and reverb. And shout out to Kev Turner. He was able to record a little segment on how he recorded the vocals, what he used.
Peace, everybody. My name is Kev Turner. I'm the MC on the Massacre. I just want to give you a quick rundown of the equipment I used and my recording process. So first thing I used was my audio interface is the Universal Audio Apollo Twin. It's a very good interface, has very good pre's in it. I use the pre's from the Apollo Twin when I record. The microphone I use to record my vocals is the Shure SM7B. You may have seen the Shure SM7B on many, if not most podcasts right now. It's a very good mic. It doesn't pick up a lot of background noise or anything like that. It's very good for vocals, very strong, very broad vocals. Also, to record my vocals, I use Pro Tools 12. I record my vocals into Pro Tools 12. That's pretty much my recording gear that I use. My process is really, I don't punch in. I really don't know how to punch in, to be honest. When I go to record it, if I'm at the last bar of the last verse and I mess up, I don't punch in. I just go straight from the top. I don't go from the top to the beginning of the song. I go to the top from the beginning of the third verse. That's how I do it. That's how I do my thing. I guess I'm a perfectionist, if you might say. It's a gift and a curse, but I appreciate the opportunity. Shout out to Jay Ellyiot. Look out for more music from us. INTUA, shout out to INTUA. My name is Kev Turner. Peace.
So let's go ahead and hear the vocals with the effects first.
The horror of tomorrow, the wickedness is ridiculous. Earth is my chessboard, every move is meticulous. You could be sick and infected with mad sicknesses.
And here's how it sounds like without the effects.
The horror of tomorrow, the wickedness is ridiculous. Earth is my chessboard, every move is meticulous. You could be sick and infected with mad sicknesses.
All right, so the first thing I added was some EQ, and the EQ that I used was the 6144 by DDMF. This is probably my favorite EQ out of all the AU V3 effects plugins out there. The thing with this EQ is that you'll never get like a harsh sounding effect. Everything that's added is very subtle. Here's how it sounds like without the EQ.
The horror of tomorrow, the wickedness is ridiculous. Earth is my chessboard, every move is meticulous.
And here's how it sounds like with.
The horror of tomorrow, the wickedness is ridiculous. Earth is my chessboard, every move is meticulous. You could be sick and infected with mad sickness.
So as you can see with the EQ, I didn't have to go too crazy with it. That's because the recording was good. It sounded very flat, so I just added a little bit of high end, took out some of the mids, and took out some of the low end. After that, I added Barricade. This is what it sounds like with it bypassed.
The horror of tomorrow, the wickedness is ridiculous. Earth is my chessboard, every move is meticulous. You could be sick and infected with mad sicknesses.
And here's how it sounds like with it on.
The horror of tomorrow, the wickedness is ridiculous. Earth is my chessboard, every move is meticulous. You could be sick and infected with mad sicknesses and still couldn't spit the sickening display of penmanship.
I used the vocal compression preset within the app, and then I just tweaked some of the parameters. Basically, I added this plugin to keep his vocals at bay. If there were parts where he's too low, it would get louder, and if there was parts where he was peaking, then it would get a little bit lower, just to keep everything kind of leveled. And it actually kind of added a little bit of distortion to his vocals, which I thought worked really well, especially for this particular track, because as you can hear how he's rapping pretty upfront and aggressive. So I thought the distortion actually added to the track a bit and gave it a little bit more character. All right, so after that, I added the NA analog rack reverb. So first I will play it with it off.
The horror of tomorrow, the wickedness is ridiculous. Earth is my chessboard, every move is meticulous. You could be sick and infected with mad.
All right, so here's how it sounds like with it on the reverb.
The horror of tomorrow, the wickedness is ridiculous. Earth is my chessboard, every move is meticulous. You could be sick and infected with mad sicknesses and still couldn't spit the sickening display of penmanship.
So within the plugin, I added the little bright hall preset. And as you can see with the mix parameter, I only added a little bit. Just a touch of reverb so it doesn't sound too dry. And that's basically it for the vocal tracks, man. Again, I didn't have to go too crazy with the effects because the recording itself was really good. I will play it one more time without all the effects and then I'll play it back again with the effects on. So this is without.
The horror of tomorrow, the wickedness is ridiculous. Earth is my chessboard, every move is meticulous. You could be sick and infected.
So now here is with all the effects activated.
The horror of tomorrow, the wickedness is ridiculous. Earth is my chessboard, every move is meticulous. You could be sick and infected with mass.
So you can definitely hear the difference. There's a lot more presence within the vocals. It sounds a lot more cleaner. Again, with that distortion a bit, with the compression and the limiter, and then a little bit of reverb. Now I'll play it with the beat.
Horror of tomorrow, the wickedness is ridiculous. Earth is my chessboard, every move is meticulous. You could be sick and infected with mad sicknesses and still couldn't spit the sickening display of penmanship. God is my witness.
So after the main vocals, it was just the verse ad-libs. So all I did for that was just duplicate the track from the main vocals, and so that I would have the exact same effects and effect settings within the ad-lib track. So I duplicated the track and then just deleted the main vocals and then added the ad-libs afterwards. It's the exact same effects because I want it to sound the same and the exact same effects settings. The only other thing I did within the ad-libs is just adjust the levels. The levels for the ad-libs is just a little bit lower compared to the main vocals. I will play the ad-libs together with the vocals.
The horror of tomorrow, the wickedness is ridiculous. Earth is my chessboard, every move is meticulous. You could be sick and infected with mad sicknesses and still couldn't spit the sickening display of penmanship.
And you know, with ad-libs, you're only repeating certain parts of the track. So there's a lot of like dead space in between the parts where you're not doing your ad-libs. So I just deleted all the parts that had a lot of empty space. So I know you can add a plugin where you can basically do some ducking so that the audio will automatically go down when there's nothing happening and then come back up when the vocals go. But I prefer to just delete all the dead space and do it that way. So then after that was the hook, and the same thing. I just duplicated for the hook and the hook ad-libs so that I would have the exact same effects so that it sounds the same. Now the only difference that I did was within the hook ad-libs. Now with the chorus, of course, you always want the chorus to kind of stand out more and be more present within the track. So basically what I did was added FAC Chorus to the hook ad-libs so that it would give the hook more presence. Kind of sounds like a stereo widener or whatever. You could hear it coming from the left and right speaker a lot more. So I'll play it first without the plugin activated, and then I'll play it afterwards. So here's what it sounds like without.
Money overflowing, hit them banks up. Armed guards in the back of them Brinks trucks. Cuban links and cigars when we link up. Let's have a toast of success. Throw your drinks up. Money over.
All right, so now here's what it sounds like with the chorus effect.
Money overflowing, hit them banks up. Armed guards in the back of them Brinks trucks. Cuban links and cigars when we link up. Let's have a toast of success. Throw your drinks up. Money overflowing, hit them banks up.
And you can definitely hear the difference. It sounds a lot more wider. There's definitely a lot more presence within the hook. When the hook comes in, you know when it comes in. Usually you would just record like 2 other vocal tracks and then pan one hard left and then pan another one hard right. I just added this chorus effect, basically gave you the same effect without having to record some extra tracks. So I'll play it again without and with, and I'll play it with the beat.
Money overflowing, hit them banks up. Armed guards in the back of them Brinks trucks. Cuban links and cigars when we link up. Let's have a toast of success. Throw your drinks up.
And here is with the effect on.
Money overflowing, hit them banks up. Armed guards in the back of them Brinks trucks. Cuban links and cigars when we link up. Let's have a toast of success. Throw your drinks up. Money.
So yeah, you definitely hear the difference for sure. You definitely felt the presence of the hook when it came in. And just really quickly, the plugin that I used was the delay riff. And again, just adjusting the parameters to my likings. So originally the hook was just this.
Money overflowing, hit them banks up. Armed guards in the back of them Brinks trucks. Cuban links and cigars when we link up.
And I thought it would be cool to add like a double up to some of the parts where where it's kind of like empty space.
Money overflowing, hit them banks up.
So when he says banks up, I thought it'd be cool to add like a double up to that afterwards, or like an ad-lib. Basically all the blank space, I added the end of that and made it repeat again. He didn't record those parts. I just duplicated the track and then cut out the same parts where he says like banks up, and then placed it so that it would sound good within the beat. So here's how it sounds like with the double ups.
Money overflowing, hit them banks up. Armed guards in the back of them Brinks trucks. Cuban links and cigars when we link up. Let's have a toast to success. Throw your drinks up. Money overflowing, hit them banks up. Armed guard.
So yeah, when he heard that, he's like, "Oh man, that's dope. I didn't even think of that, man. That sounds good." So I was happy that he liked it. So here's how it sounds like with the rest of the beat.
Yeah, money overflowing, hit them banks up. Armed guards in the back of them Brinks trucks. Cuban links and cigars when we link up. Let's have a toast to success. Throw your drinks up. Money overflowing, hit them banks up. Armed guards in the back of them Brinks trucks.
And that's it. So the only other thing that was added to the beat was these kind of little effects that go along with what he's saying. Basically just added a little more flavor to the beat. Once you hear the vocals, the vocals might inspire you to add some other things to the beat. For example, in the beginning, so I add this little drum break in between some parts just to kind of, add a little something to it. So in the intro here, you have a little drum roll.
Yeah. It's Kev Turner. This John Funky, man. Check me out. The horror of tomorrow, the wickedness is ridiculous. Earth is my chessboard, every move is meticulous. You could be sick and infected with mad sicknesses and still couldn't spit.
And that drum roll comes in every time at the end of the hook. So over here at the end of the hook.
Drinks up, money overflowing, hit them banks up. Armed guards in the back of them Brinks trucks. Cuban links and cigars when we link up. Let's have a toast of success. Throw your drinks up. Black wolves howling at the moon.
If I take it off, see what it sounds like.
Armed guards in the back of them Brinks trucks. Cuban links and cigars when we link up. Let's have a toast of success. Throw your drinks up. Black wolves howling at the moon.
And yeah, as you can hear, it's something very simple, but it definitely adds a lot more flavor to the track. So there's two other little effects that I added to the track, and I added them because of what he was saying within his vocals. So yeah, let me play it real quick.
You know what I did with this? I just ran down your 5 senses in 5 sentences. So heal up, wheel up, bring it back, come rewind. Rum pum pum, be the sound from the 9.
After I heard his vocals and I heard that part, I was like, oh man, it'd be cool if we added like a rewind sound and some gunshots to that part where he's saying that. So I tested it out, and this is what it sounds like.
No, you ain't paying attention to what I did with this. I just ran down your 5 senses in 5 sentences. So heal up, wheel up, bring it back, come rewind. Rum pum pum, be the sound from the 9. Them like Nick Cannon with them.
And again, just something very simple and very subtle, but it definitely makes a huge difference and adds a lot more flavor to your track. And it's just something I thought of when hearing his vocals. As I was saying earlier, try and leave space or just leave things at the bare minimum, and then when you hear everything all together, it might inspire you to do some other things or to add some other things to the track based on his vocals or whoever's vocals that you're working on. And even after doing that, I knew we were going to make a video after. I already thought of the idea of like, oh, it'd be cool with the gunshots if like the screen moved when he was doing the gunshot.
Heal up, wheel up, bring it back, come rewind. Rum pum pum, be the sound from the 9.
Just little ideas and little things definitely adds a lot more character to your beat or your track or whatever. So keep that in mind if you're ever, making a beat or making a track with someone, of little things you can add here and there to kind of spice it up a bit. I'm going to quickly go through the effects chain on my master channel real quick, and I got a lot going on here. I'm just going to play everything. I don't even know why this is here. I'm just going to leave this deactivated, but all right. So first I'm going to play everything bypassed on the master channel.
Horror of tomorrow, the wickedness is ridiculous. Earth is my chessboard, every move is meticulous. You could be sick and infected with mad sicknesses and still.
So now here is everything activated.
Horror of tomorrow, the wickedness is ridiculous. Earth is my chessboard, every move is meticulous. You could be sick and infected with mad sicknesses and still couldn't spit the sickening display of penmanship. God is my witness.
So let's quickly run down through these. So again, I use Bark Filter. That's the first plugin that I used. I used the triple band preset, turned on the limiter, and played around with some of the parameters. So this is what it sounds like with Bark Filter.
Horror of tomorrow, the wickedness is ridiculous. Earth is my chessboard, every move is meticulous. You could be sick and infected with mad sicknesses and still couldn't spit the sickening display of penmanship. God is my witness, I'm infected.
So after that, I added ReelBus, and what I did here was just play around, left it at default, and just played around with some of the parameters, took down the noise, added some compression, the record level a little bit, and then these other two parameters, I brought them up a bit. Here it is off.
Horror of tomorrow, the wickedness is ridiculous. Earth is my chessboard, every move.
With ReelBus activated now.
Horror of tomorrow, the wickedness is ridiculous. Earth is my chessboard, every move is meticulous. You could be sick and infected with.
I'm a big fan of Tone Booster's plugins. Basically, I added ReelBus to give the track a little bit more bottom end, give it a little bit more punch, some saturation. So the next thing I added was the RX 950. I love this app. I use it all the time, even on the master channel sometimes. And as you all know, or if you don't know, the RX 950 is the emulation of the Kai S950. I added this to brighten up the mix a bit and to give it kind of that like crunchiness and crispiness, which we are all familiar of with the Kai S950. So this is first what it sounds like with it off.
Horror of tomorrow, the wickedness is ridiculous. Earth is my chessboard, every move is meticulous. You could.
And here's how it sounds like with it activated.
Horror of tomorrow, the wickedness is ridiculous. Earth is my chessboard, every move is meticulous. You could be sick and infected with mad sicknesses and still couldn't spit the sickening display.
And yeah, so all I did was just mess with the filter parameter, the audio bandwidth, but you can definitely hear the difference for sure. It's very subtle, but it adds a little bit of like crispiness, crunchiness, some of that grit to the overall mix. And the last one I added was FAC Transient again. And I normally actually don't add FAC Transient on my master channel, but I guess in this particular case, it really helped the beat a lot. And I just added the saturator preset and just adjusted some of the parameters. So here's how it sounds like without FAC Transient.
Horror of tomorrow, the wickedness is ridiculous. Earth is my chessboard, every move is meticulous. You could be sick and infected with mad sickness.
And here's how it sounds like with it activated.
Horror of tomorrow, the wickedness is ridiculous. Earth is my chessboard, every move is meticulous. You could be sick and infected with mad sicknesses and still couldn't.
Definitely added more punch to it and some of that bottom end, bring up some of that bottom end a bit. All right, y'all. So that is basically it. That is the whole rundown of the beat. I will leave a link in the description box below to every single plugin that I use within this track. Hopefully you guys can apply what I've shown you here today to your beats. And hopefully you can elevate your beats, your tracks, your music. But again, if you want to check out the track and the video, go to INTUA's YouTube channel or Instagram page to check out the video. Shout out to INTUA and BeatMaker 3 for this incredible app. Also, I want to give a shout out to Kev Turner. Kev Turner was obviously a huge part of this track. You know, the beat alone, I guess, was pretty dope, but him rapping on it definitely brought it to another level, and I'm happy that I was able to create this track with him and create a video and then now share it with you guys. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.